Good morning, everyone, and thank you again for joining us today on our third day of the On-Air Summit for LX. Yesterday, we went through some of our extension products that are available through Infor that are very attractive offerings to use in conjunction with LX. Today, we're going to go in a little bit different direction, and we're going to cover some of the tooling that's available through ION and within LX to kind of assist you with your processes. So today, Gray Emmel will be joining us, who's a solutions consultant that will go through several of these features that are available to you. So what they are, briefly, again, these are solutions to help streamline your business processes. Some of them are ION, not all of them. So we have a couple of solutions that we're going to cover that are part of the LX and System I solutions. WFI is a workflow solution that is available is included in our Flex bundle and can be used for various workflows throughout LX. We're also going to go over the LX connector at the end of the presentation. And you'll see that it's a technology tool that has some capability you're probably not aware of. So I hope you'll find that to be interesting. And then specifically ION, we'll be going through the ION workflow and what that means and how it's evolving. And the big thing about the ION workflow versus WFI is it's evolving and will be our strategic workflow solution. And you'll see one of the benefits of it is that it is across your enterprise. It's not just for LX. You can have workflows that cross over from various Infor solutions, such as EAM or WM SCE that we saw yesterday. So you can have a workflow that starts in LX and concludes in SCE or back and forth. So that's one of the great benefits about the ION workflow is that it's cross Infor applications. And then Event Manager, you'll see how you can help manage those workflows and see what's happening within the business. So we'll pass this to Greg, and he'll get started with his presentation. I hope you find it to be informative. All right, Greg, you should have the presentation available to you now. Everything your desktop, can you hear us? I think you may be on mute.
Here we are. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, as the case may be. First thing we wanted to look at is WFI, the workflow for the I-Series, and this is particularly set up for LX. We're looking right here at the WFI modeler. This is where you set up workflows, and workflows can be started in a number of ways. The one you're looking at here is started by an LX event. In this case, it's a order has been taken in LX and has gone on to a credit stop, and this is a workflow that will allow the user, in this case, sales users, to interrogate that. They will get an event that says an order's been placed, but it is on hold. Review it and release it, or do whatever you need to do with it. And in this case, this icon indicates that this is going to be a event started workflow. This is an LX event. We have a number of these events built, delivered with the product. They're built for specific events. You've got purchase orders, engineering, change management. We have a number of those events. Some of those, and typically, what are the things I would want to do with a workflow? These are examples of the typical processes. Add a new item or a customer. We're going to look at that. I have a flow set up for that. Order release from credit hold. That's another one I'm going to do. And the rest of them. These are typical examples of what I would use workflow to do in LX. So let's proceed along this line here. I'm going to get an event for order, any type of order placed with LX, and then I'm going to interrogate it and say, is it on hold? If I look at the properties, it's going to say, what is my test? My test is, is it on hold equals yes, then what do I want to do? I want to go down, assign a user to it. In this case, I'm going to assign the sales admin role to it. and then I'm going to display a message to the user in a workspace, and that message is going to display information about it and allow the user to hit any one of these, we call them buttons. In this case, really the big one is ORD 580. It's going to allow me to take that off of credit hold. And then when we come back, it's going to say, okay, is it now not on hold? Good. I'm going to send an email out, and then I'm going to announce that back to the user, and I'm done. Another flow I have that is very requested often is I'm creating a new item. This could be a new item, it could be a new customer, it could be any new entry into LX. You notice this time there's a hand here, and that means this is manually started. And I have multiple roles on this. This is interacting with a workspace, that these events will come up on a role-based workspace. If I'm part of sales admin or purchasing admin or engineering, that event would appear on my workspace as something I have to tackle. Now, I'm part of a role, and it is either by users or by roles. In this case, I'm processing all by roles. So if I'm a member of the engineering group, I'm going to see them all until I take an event. If I accept an event to do it, then it's going to disappear from others. But what's going to happen is I'm going to assign a role here. Well, actually, there's a very nice little tool here called a walkthrough. So let's walk through this and see what's going to happen. So first off, I'm going to get a message, and it's going to say, the following engineering information needs to be entered. I need a description and a unit measure. And what's happening under the covers is I have a template built, a template item for this part. Now, I can have multiple template items for different types of parts, and I could have a workflow for each one. In this case, I'm going to ask, say I need a description, unit, and measure, and then I'll continue. And then I'm going to go out and check and say, is this already out here? I don't want to try to add a part that already exists. If it doesn't, then I'm going to continue. I change the role to the sales admin group, and I need a list price from them. I'm going to continue on. And now I need more information for the purchasing group. I need a vendor, a buyer, and a lead time. Once that's accomplished, I'm going to assign it back to the engineering group and say, all this information's been entered. Now what do you want to do? Right now, the only option is I need to execute INV 100 from LX, call it directly out of LX, and position it at the last screen. I've gone through about 5 screens deep here. Position it so that I can do an F6 to accept it, or I can cancel out. It's going to show me the new part, and we're ready to go. Once I do that, then I'm going to say, okay, I'm done. Notify me back with an email, and I'm finished. Email is going to look like this. So that's what's going to happen with WFI. Stop my walkthrough.
So, Gray, one of the great things about this is I often get asked, how do I have control or have the proper people involved with item master creation or customer master creation? Because again, you only want certain people to define certain parts about the item or customer. So this is a great way of doing that, and having the people that are in engineering enter the engineering data, the people that are in finance entering the finance data, pricing data, et cetera. Same with the sales people as well, having control over the sales information about the item. It's really a great way to kind of segregate duties and make sure that the people that are appropriate, the appropriate people are entering the data that's relevant for the departments.
Exactly. And very easily set up. You set up the roles in the system, and here I'm setting up. Now, I can be an individual or a role. In this case, it's a role, but multiple people. And I can simply set the role up here, and I can select from it. I can select from a palette of those roles. I have a number of roles I can use. And as users are signed into the system, they have certain roles that they participate in. So now let's go over to the workspace. This is the workspace for WFI. Now, you notice I've already got one for sales admin. I had previously created an order that went on hold, so I have a task for the sales admin group. Now, from a demonstration perspective, I am a member of all roles, so that way I don't have to sign on and sign back off. But typically, this would be sales admin people would see this, and simply you click on it, and you see all of the tasks I have. I have only one. I have taken a new order. It is on hold. And when I look at that, it comes up, tells me a new customer has been created. It is on hold. And what can I do? I can do an inquiry to the customer, look at the order, maintain the order. In this case, I want to release the order from hold. So I'm simply going to click on that. You'll have to excuse me a second. What happened is I let this thing go to sleep. That's all right. I'll just bring it back up. I'll let it time out. And I cleared it. The next thing we wanted to do also, we wanted to look at I transacted that. So the next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to start a workflow manually. This is where we're going to start a workflow. And the workflows I have to be able to start manually, here they are. And I'm going to enter an item. Make sure it doesn't exist already, and I'm going to submit it and say I want to go with it. Exit out. Oh, here's my sales admin. It's back. We'll just leave that there for right now. What's going to happen is I'm on a 1-minute poll, so I don't know which end of the minute I'm on. My new event's going to show up here in just a minute. And it will be it'll be called WFI role, which is really my engineering role. Here it is. Here's my WFI role. So now when I click on this, it's going to say, first off, it's engineering. I need to enter an item description for this engineering item. Click on it, and I need a description. This is going to be a test item. I've also set up a pull down for my unit of measure for tables. I can do this. I have some more examples later. And now all I need to do is forward it on to pricing. So now this is going to go to the next group, which is the sales admin group for pricing. Now, if I refresh this, it's gone. It's gone because I've completed that task. Now, this sales admin role this WFI role is going to disappear, and I'm going to get 2 sales admin roles here in just a moment. It's going to go to the next group. Here it is, sales admin group. Now here's that new order is on hold still, but I'm going to enter the pricing data. Pricing data, I'm going to make it just $10, and I'm going to forward it on to purchasing. Again, if I refresh it, it should be gone. Click off, second, and I will get I will get another action for purchasing. It should be purchase admin. Then I need to finish off by adding that item in. There it is. There's my purchasing manager. Enter purchasing data. Click on that. Now I need to add the vendor. I have a pull down for vendor just for demonstration purposes. I'll change the vendor. And I've set up 3 radio buttons for different buyers. It could be a pull down. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to give 4 days for a lead time, and then I'm going to enter the item. If I refresh this again, it's gone. Now I'm going to wait, and it'll come back to the engineering role here, because now it's up to the engineer to review what's been entered by all the other departments, and then decide whether or not we want to add it into the item master or not. I have, for demonstration purposes, I have this poll set at 1 minute. Realistically, in actual operation, people set it for much greater than that because they don't want this thing, the overhead of that happening. It's usually 5 minutes to half hour or an hour, something like that, because somebody's not going to be reviewing it every instant. You can set it to whatever you want. Oh, here we are, WFI role. So now I can come back and say, what do I want to do? Now, here we are. I've got all my information added, and my option is I can cancel it, or I can enter an item master. So let's try to enter the item master. There it is. It's brought me back right into LX and says this is the last screen. I could move backward and forward in this screen, and what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to accept it. And I finished it. And actions, I can just exit. And I say done. If I refresh it, it's finished. There. I've just added that, I've added an item master. Complete. We also had that sales admin. Let's quickly see if we can do that now. I should be able to bring it right up. I'm already signed on. And remember, credit. So if I want to clear that from credit, I'm going to release it from credit hold. I accept it. I accept it. I'm done. Refresh it. I'm finished. And that sales admin is going to go away. So so we've used workflow to WFI to enter a new item, using multiple departments to enter their information, and we've also done one to release an order from credit hold. It's pretty simple. It's a drag and drop tool. It's easy to use. Simply drag and drop all these events over here. All right, Dave?
Yeah, that's great, Greg. So I guess I'd like to now, let's go look at the ION workflow and the direction that we're heading in, and see how, again, this crosses similar workflow processes, but now to extend beyond just LX to other Infor applications.
Yeah, I agree with you. The distinction here is that WFI is workflow within LX, and it's built specifically for LX activities. The ION workflow is a workflow and event manager for events happening between two integration points. And in this case, we have, I'll bring this up. This is ION. This is the desktop. This is where I want to go first. do a little bit of what we did with WFI, show you some of the functions and setup of events and workflows. Here's events. This is my monitors. I have a number of them for LX, and we'll show you some of them. I have a monitor that tells me when a customer is placed on hold. I also have a workflow. When a customer is put on hold, do I want to keep it on hold or release it? I also have an event that tells me when a purchase order is greater than $10,000. Also, I have a workflow in the warehousing system. It's supply chain execution is the name of the product, or previously called WM9, and that's why it refers to WM9 here. But I also have an event that say, if I have taken if I'm in WM9 and I have a late shipment, tell me about it. Or if I'm adjusting inventory in WM9, and what it's doing is actually adjusting inventory in LX because of an integration, tell me if I'm adjusting plus or minus 100. And how I set one of these up, if I just double click on one, events are extremely easy to set up. What I do is I come in, I tell it I come in and say I'm using the inventory adjustment business object document. You'll hear us talk about those a lot. I think you heard about them yesterday. Those are BODs. I'm using the inventory adjustment BOD, and I've selected these attributes or fields from them. And I have a condition that says if my quantity is greater than or equal to 100 or less than or equal to a minus 100, if I'm taking an adjustment plus or minus 100, then tell me about it. And who do I tell? I tell possibly this group. This is the group of people. I'm using users. It could be groups, just like in WFI. It can be groups or it can be individual users. And none of these are getting an email, but I could select any of these to receive an email of the event. The same holds true for if I'm looking at workflows. If I go into workflow, it is very similar in function to what we saw before. I've got a case where I'm adding a new item into LX, but I want to automatically add that item into WM9, but I want a little approval step first. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get a new item here, and I'm going to distribute that message to a number of people. When I get a new item, then I'm going to say, is this been approved? Does it need to be approved? If it's yes, then it's approved, it goes. If not, I don't want to approve it, it means I need to delete it, then I need to tell somebody about it that they need to remove it from WM9. I don't want it in WM9. I added it to LX, but I don't want it in WM9. Same thing when I put a customer on hold. The customer's been placed on hold. I need a workflow to tell somebody, do I need to please review it and release it from hold or leave it on hold. And these, again, it's a drag and drop tool. It's very easy to use. Matter of fact, well, I can't use that because it's active. So let's go look at it in action now that we've done this. Let's bring up, this is the ION workspace. You notice here is LX on the left side. I think you probably saw this yesterday. This is the new release. This is the latest release of it, so it may look a little different from what you saw yesterday. And here I have the activity deck. It used to be called Pulse, now it's called Activity Deck. These are my events that I have. And I can also look over here, I can look at tasks. I don't have any tasks right now. So let's look at my alerts. These are my escalations. Here's my alerts. Now, we went through the list of events I had there. Remember, I had a PO event that said if it exceeded the $10,000, and here it is. Let's look at. Also, I can go out here and look at all of these in one page. I can look at the activity deck itself. Now, we're in transition here. What the other one was a white base screen. This is a dark black base screen. We're kind of in transition. In a few weeks, this will turn white also. But this shows me all of I set this up because this is personal to me. I set up my alerts, and I only want to look at LX alerts because I can filter for it. And I can look at alerts that have been escalated. My escalation is like 5 minutes on this. If no one takes this in 5 minutes, then escalate it. And it can escalate up through your organization. Any tasks or workflows, we're going to start a workflow here in a minute. And I had WM9. I had adjusted inventory in WM9, and I wanted to be told about it. And here's a shipment that was late. We talked about that on the previous screen. And what I can do here is I can assign this task to me, and I can complete it, and it goes away. So let's do something here. Up here, I'm going to get into INV 100. I've got a timeout. I have to reset that timeout. So I'm up here on INV 100, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy a part. I'm going to copy an item, and this is going to cause a workflow to execute. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it 152, and I'm just simply going to take the action is just I'm going to accept it. And I'm going to close out of this. Now, let's go over to my tasks, because I should be getting a task here. I should have a task land here in just a moment, which is a workflow task. Curious? There's my task. It says a new item has been added. What do I want to do about it? And I can get on the detail. Here's my information that I said I wanted to have out there, and I'm just going to approve it right here. Been approved. Now let's go over to the supply chain system. I think I'm probably going to want me to. It's probably going to want me to sign on again here. Yep. I have a timeout. I'll just log in real quick. Make sure our item shows up in here. Let's go look at it again. Just give it a wild card here and see if it's there. There's our item. There's the item we added. So we added it, we approved it to be added to WM9, and now it's landed in WM9. Let's go back and do one more thing. We're going to bring up customer master maintenance. I'm going to go back to alerts here real quick, and I'm going to position to an item to my customer, and I'm going to just maintain that, and I'm going to put it on hold. And we'll see what happens. Now, I should get an event, an alert. It should tell me that here it comes. I have an alert. I've also got an email. Email came to me and said the customer's been placed on hold. I have my tells me it's been placed on hold. I'm going to go to the activity deck here, and what it's going to do is I've also got a workflow. Now, sometimes you may have a very complex workflow, and the user needs to know, where am I in that process? So I have this activity locator that tells me, I can say, I've been alerted, and I've also got a task because I need to approve this. I need to keep it on release or release it from hold. If I look down here, where am I in the process? Right now, I'm on release approval. I find this is very helpful in telling you where you are in the process. So release it, hold. Okay. So now let's assign it to me. And what do I want to do? I'm going to release it, and I'm going to get a notification back. There's my notification. Where am I in the path? I'm right there. My notification says you need to go. Okay. I'm just telling you that you need to go back and release this customer from hold. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to assign this to me and get rid of it. Go back to LX. Take my customer. And close out of that, and now I should get something else here that tells me that customer has been taken off a hold. Give it a second. Here we come. Oh, there it is. One of the nice things I can do, I can also, let me assign this to me. I can also select and do multiples. And in this case, I'm just going to mark this as done. So, been able to use ION to alert me of events that are happening in LX or any other system, and also allow me to control the flow of that information with workflow. Now, workflow in ION is growing. It doesn't have the deep capabilities yet that WFI does, but it is growing, and it will have those capabilities. In fact, it will. If you want to make any comment on that, Dave?
Yeah, again, the ION applications are really kind of groundbreaking within Infor, and they're still being developed. And we've got a lot of resources focused on these types of applications and building these applications so they're available to LS customers as well as customers for other products like SEE that we just talked about. So, and it will evolve. So some of the things, the detail that we saw earlier in WFI, as far as, every field being editable, and some of this is happening within workflow that we're seeing here. We'll continue to expand because it's all BOD-based. Earlier we talked about within ION, what we have is our messaging documents, the business object documents. When we refer to BODs, that's what we're talking about. And so as we expand the scope of how many places we have business object documents in LX, the more capability that we're going to also have in terms of workflow that like we're seeing here, because that's really the engine that invokes these types of workflows. And the great thing, so going back to what we're seeing here, this is all within Workspace. On the right here, now we've got the activity deck where you can access the pulse messages as well as the workflow activities and see the actions that you need to take as a user based on some of the things that are happening within the business. So it really is a powerful tool, and it'll continue to evolve. So we really just want to make sure that you're aware of that this is available to you, and it will continue to evolve as we stated. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to show here within ION workflow. One of the other things that we wanted to talk about was the connector and some of the capability that brings to you as well. So this is, obviously a very user-friendly tool here, but the connector is more of a technical tool that can be, I wouldn't say it's technical. It needs to be installed probably with somebody with a little bit of technical expertise, but once it's done, it's a great tool of a way of loading data into LX, whether it's customers, items, anything of that nature where typically maybe you have a lot of data that you want to push into LX. And, one of the the concerns is people have always found ways to be able to do that. Whether they do it through SQL or something and upload data. But with that, there's always a concern about data integrity, obviously. So are we ready to transition into this at
Absolutely.
this point?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what this does is the connector is a tool that's available in LX that lets you do that in a very controlled way, that ensures all the data integrity that you have as if somebody went through our INV 100 application to enter an item or ACR 100 to create a customer. This follows the same rules and ensures the same data integrity that you would have as if somebody did that, but a way of loading mass amounts of data without having to go through all those steps. So Grade's going to show us how that works, and I think you'll find it a tool that you may be interested in.
Yeah, the tool is at a low level. It's a fairly technological tool, but very effective, particularly in mass loading data. We've also added some new documents to that set. We've got a number of documents that we support. Let me bring up the connector. Got a lot of documents out here that we do support. As a matter of fact, when we supply this, we supply a full set of scripts that allow you to build these. Now, they are Java applets. We have a single transaction Java applet called the LX message sender, and what that will do is it will allow you to send a transaction into LX using the LX exit points and all of the logic for that transaction. If I'm adding an item master, it uses the same logic as INV 100 to add an item, or whatever record I'm using. Also, we have another transaction which is called the transform spreadsheet, and what this applet allows you to do. I know this is a little technical, but basically what it's this spreadsheet transformer, and what it does, it allows me to take a spreadsheet, take these fields that I'm looking across the top here. These fields are spelled out in the scripts that we supply you. This is the attribute name inside an XML document that this is going to generate. And the only three mandatory fields really here, other than if I'm adding a part, I need a part and a couple of these transactions. This system will let you know if it's not complete. But the only three fields I really am required to have is a success, an error message, and an error text. And what's going to happen is I'm going to send this spreadsheet through this Java app, and the applet really can be called from a PC. In this case, it's a server, or it can be called from the iSeries. It doesn't matter. It's Java. But what it's going to do is it's going to take the spreadsheet and process all of these down here. Now, the first two items it's going to add because those don't exist. The third item it is not going to add because it's going to error out. And it's going to send back the message back here. So let's do that. I'm going to close this off so it'll update it. And being a lazy guy that I am, I have my script all set up here. That's that spreadsheet. So all I need to do is paste it. Paste it in. There's my spreadsheet. And I transact it. It's going to take just a couple seconds. It's going to come back. Now, if I go and let's look at that spreadsheet. Now we have the first two parts passed. They were complete. But the third one, it errored out. I have an error because it cannot add it. It already exists. This is the same message I would get in INV 100 if I tried to add an item without that already exists. It would come back with the same message. Now we have some other tools out here. A tool called the LX Informer. LX Informer is Java application that lets me look inside of the LX connector. Lets me look at the inbox and the error log. Error log's a misnomer. It's an old name. It's really the transaction log. So if I look at that transaction log, and I look at the bottom of it, if I refresh, we will see those transactions that happened. There's my items that passed, and here's the item that didn't. Here's my error code. So I can look in here and see everything that's happening. This is a business analyst tool, certainly, but it's nice to be able to see things happening through the system. Now, what we provide is a number of scripts, and very easy to use. If you want to know what those attributes are, we have it out here for you. If I look out into the connector, I look at, these are the samples. These are samples that we already have preset so that you get an idea how to look at it. If I look at the customer order script and my samples, this tells me what I need to be able to create a customer order with one line. And that's just XML. And if I want to know all of the scripts, these are all of the transactions that are available to you. And we supply all of this for you. And then you just use the fields you wish. If I look at any one of these, if I'm getting to look at the inventory script, there's my transaction, how to post inventory, and all the fields that I may need. I don't necessarily have to have all these fields, but all the fields I may need. We make it as easy as possible for you to use this tool. But it's a very good tool for allowing mass change, particularly using spreadsheets, or you can do it individual transactions at a time. I do that let's say I'm going to create a customer order. Here's what I need to create a customer order. A single shot. I create the XML and I pass that XML into LX through the correct exit point. And we have that all set up for you. All right.
Yeah, and I think one of the really important things is it does follow that same validation that you would have if you just did it through the application. That's the key thing, because the way the connector is designed, it executes the same logic. So it does ensure that data integrity, which is so important. And it's a good point, too, there, Gray, about you can use it for change also. It doesn't need just people create. If you needed to do some sort of mass change, a way of doing that. Because, of course, if you exported the data into Excel from LX, you could just change what you needed to and reload it back up.
Right.
So really a powerful tool. I know it looks a little technical, but, again, if you've got somebody that can install it onto a user's desktop, then the Excel part of it, obviously, very easy to do. So this is, I think, something that people should be aware of its existence. So thank you, Gray.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure. And let me send it back to you.
All right, thank you.
There you go.
Thanks, Gray. Okay, so we'll open it up for questions here. If you could, Kurt, see if you queue anybody up.
Certainly. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Robin Lynch. Your line is open.
Thank you.
Good morning, Robin.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I have a number of questions, actually.
Okay.
All of them are for the workflow and how it would work with a combination of ION or LX connectors. Basically, I'll give you a brief synopsis of what we're doing. We have a Agile, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but we use that as our documents of record, and we create all of our items from a feed from that Agile process into LX. So right now we're doing an MQ feed, and then we read it in, format the data, and then just dump it into LX Item Master.
Is that going straight in unedited?
Well, we basically made a copy of the INV 100, and we're going through that.
Okay.
Validate the data first,
Sure.
and capturing the errors. But I'd like to replace that process.
Sure.
Just because every time a change comes through or a beamer or something, we have to go in and modify these programs too. And I'd like to get away from that.
Sure. I can understand that.
So what I'm thinking is if we brought the data in either through LX connectors or ION, can we then use the trigger to kick off the workflow? Because there are fields, obviously, that then need to be maintained because we don't have all of the information in Agile. We don't have anything to do with prices or costing. We don't have anything to do with the PLC code or anything to that effect. So what I'd like to do is trigger the workflow event, if we could, to then start sending it out to the individual roles or groups for their approval. Now, is that something that can be done that way?
Oh yes. The event would be the add of an item. You could add the first part of an item, and then that would cause a workflow to start running, much as I did manually.
But I actually want the item to update first. So I want the item in there, but maybe trigger it off that create event.
Yeah, it would come in as a stub. There's not a lot. All you need to start an item is a item number and a couple codes. Beyond that, then you start it and start routing it through your user community. By role, who needs to add what? Much like I showed you in that example.
Right. Okay. So that would work then that way.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
The next question I have for you, and you just brought it up, is roles. Right now, LX Security doesn't have roles. Where's that coming in from?
That's coming in from, in this case, the WFI has it set up, has it role set up. You set them up in WFI itself.
Has roles set up.
Yes.
And that's separate from the regular FYS 600.
Sure. And additionally, ION has its own set of users and roles. It's kept up in the ION Federated Security portion. You may have talked about that yesterday. That is because ION crosses many systems. You need a roles, users and roles that cross those systems. It's not just one system or another. It's using it's our top end for the Active Directory federated services from Microsoft. That's how it uses it.
Okay, so that's bouncing against Active Directory then?
Yep, yes it is.
Okay, Active Directory. That's good to know. The other thing that I had a question on is you were showing the ION activity deck and WFI tasks on different screens. Is there any way to combine that together?
We will eventually, yes. We'll bring them all in together.
Okay. And then the last question I had for you was on the BODs. Can we develop our own?
Absolutely. There's a couple ways to do it. You can create custom BODs of your own, or you can use we have a tool, which is the PI Builder, Process Instruction Builder, which is the tool we use to create them.
Okay.
It's an additional cost for it, but there's a number of ways to do that. You can create BODs, custom BODs that are driven from triggers, from database triggers or activity triggers. There's a number of ways to bring in BODs.
Okay.
Create your own. We have a pretty good full set, but we don't pretend to have them all, and there are a number of ways you can create your own.
Okay.
Yeah, to add a little bit to that, obviously, the BODs, the BOD listing that we have available. So again, going back to the 2.0 extension that's GA today, the 2.1 extension is coming out here very shortly, later this month, and that expands our BOD footprint significantly. So that is coming available. But even with that, you may find that the way that we are publishing or receiving BODs is maybe there's another element that you have. Because of an extension file or something like that you want to push in or out that we didn't do before. Again, it's personalized. So that's where that PI Builder tool would be very helpful.
Okay. Are any of these specific to an LX version? Like right now we're on 833?
Well, the BODs and the exit points that we have there are some BODs for 833. The connector that we saw here is available for 833 as well, but 834 is where we're releasing the additional BODs and the additional exit points. So at some point, that's going to be probably a prudent move is to upgrade. Again, the upgrade 833 to 834 is pretty straightforward because there's no database changes. But you would need, to get, some of the things that we're seeing here from the extent of the BODs that you're probably going to be looking for, you probably want to upgrade 834.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, Gray, are you going to be down at Inforum?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
I hope to.
In all likelihood, yes. We haven't notified everybody that's going in, but
I usually never. I'm usually always there. Yes.
All right, then I'll see you there.
Excellent.
Okay, thanks, Robin. Do we have any other questions?
We have no further questions at this time, but again, if anyone would like to ask a question, please press star then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment. And we still have no questions at this time, so I'll turn the call back over to the presenters.
Okay, thank you. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you found this to be informative. Obviously a very different session from yesterday. We're really kind of getting into some of the things we can do specifically within LX with some of the new tool sets that we have available. Tomorrow will be the last day of our summit week. Hopefully you can join us. We'll be going through the LX roadmaps at that point, which we'll go into more detail about some of the future releases that are coming in LX and the integrations that we're going to be building. Will also be one of our major releases within LX is the Enterprise General Ledger solution. We've been talking about that solution for a while, and that is going to be released in April. So we do want to make sure you're aware of that and highlight some of the things in regard to that solution that's coming. And then we have IBM will be joining us tomorrow, and they'll be giving you the IBM roadmap. So as much as you know what's happening with LX and Infor, we do want you to be aware of what's happening with our hardware partners. So looking forward to that tomorrow as well. So again, these webinars will be recorded. You will receive a link for them sometime late next week. So you can share it with coworkers if need be. And if you have any additional questions in regard to the product, if you want additional demos or pricing and anything that you saw today, Garth Weber is the contact for that, and his information is on the screen there. So thank you, Chris.